I have a brain, so I can do all that shit. But you can turn my brain off by just fucking a couple of neurons, and I'm out of the game. I'm dead. My brain, I can be brain dead and body alive. And there's no way, well, anyway, I don't, I don't want to really argue it, but I'm just saying, there's no, feelings is a brain thing. And the insect one is the important one, though, because that's, like I said, that's somewhere in that history is that first ouch. I mean, somewhere you have a brain that said ouch. And then it had to deal with this problem of motivating ouchness, okay? So now all of a sudden you could make a circumstance where it's ouch over here and it's ooh over there. So it's bad here and it gets better over there, less ouch. And so now the game was on. And I'm sort of arguing that that's what life's made out of. It's made out of putting you in a dungeon and then making you feel good because you're getting a little bit of light. You're starting to climb out and you're getting a little bit more light and you're feeling, this is better. This is better, and that's how insidious this game is. We're not even fighting for a real victory. We're fighting just to get out of the fucking hole, just to get out of debt. So it's like a debtor's prison that life is. But anyway, the point with insects is it's a tricky one because this is where the game starts, right? These are the first organisms capable of learning a little bit. They're having a personal life experience in some sense, and this is tricky because what if they do feel? Then the carnage on this planet is outrageous. What if they feel metamorphosis, right? Your name's Metamorph. What if they feel the process of metamorphosis? Evolution wouldn't give a shit, right? Evolution couldn't care less how much a bug suffered during metamorphosis. It would just say, tough shit, I don't care. I don't need you to participate. I don't need you to do anything. You suffer, I don't give a fuck. Okay, all I care is that when you're done metamorphosing, you go off and be a butterfly and shit. I don't care how much you suffer. And then that's a little scary. I mean, it scares the fuck out of me anyway. That, by the game rules of evolution, absolute torture would be okay.
I kind of feel like I'm monopolizing the conversation here. I think I'll wait for a little bit and see if anybody else has anything to say.
Well, frankly, there's nobody here playing with real dollars either. You know what I'm saying? It's your Monopoly. Yeah, these people are playing with Monopoly brains. They're not real brains. They're just the played brains. Because, it's really hard to get conversation out of them sometimes.
Yeah, I see some people here who've written some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, well, computer probably helped them or something. Whatever. I'm just saying. It's all show. There's no go when I need them. They're all failures.
But I still do think that I think the depth of suffering is probably embedded somewhat in the higher functions of consciousness. So that I think that, for instance, a dog probably suffers a hell of a lot more than an ant. And I mean, this is just my suspicion, and I can't prove it. But I think that there's a whole other realm once abstraction takes place, mental spaces, and so I'm still pretty confident that
depends on how you define suffering. You know what I'm saying? So this is where it gets a little dicey. Because if I drive a car over your foot, you're going to be in a circumstance that's going to be intensely irritating. Or you have a bad back. When your back's fucked, you're fucked. I mean, it's physically impossible. It's just impossible. All right? It's an impossible pain to live with. It just drives you insane. Or even migraine headaches. People know these things. So that's a kind of suffering that is just this totally distracting, brain-occupying, consuming. It doesn't allow you to have a good thought or a bad thought or an interesting thought. It just fucks you and fucks you and fucks you, and it won't let you go. It just won't leave you the fuck alone. Now that, to me, is the worst kind of physical suffering. And I'm going to argue that you don't need complex understanding or context to experience that kind of suffering. That kind of, animal hit by a car, limps off to a safe place to slowly die over the next 3 days, right? I mean, this animal's in hard, evil, nasty suffering. It's not just taking a rest. Okay, it's preoccupied mentally with its encumbrances, with its busted legs and its smashed hip and its, you know. So to me, the argument is moot on that kind of suffering. I would agree with you 100% that when it comes to the emotive kind of sufferings, the sense of futility even, you know, that kind of pain, the pain of futility, the pain of loss, well, the loss one gets a little tricky too, just because we know grief, you know, animals definitely have their grief. But I'm just saying, I think you're giving the human too much credit, because you are one. You know, and I think you're taking too much away from the raw nature of most of the hardest of our sufferings. The hardest of our sufferings come through the lizard part of ourselves. You know, the crudest part of our body is the one attacking us.
Schopenhauer said something like, if you want to see the difference between pain and pleasure, consider the case of an animal killing another animal, and consider the predator's momentary satisfaction with killing and eating another animal, compared to the animal being the victim, and what the victim is feeling. And I think you're talking along those lines, and I agree with that.
Yeah, well, no, in that case, though, there's no human context, because the human context would be like knowledge of. So knowledge would be a completely different game. But the fact is, yeah, the lion has no knowledge of. The lion thinks he's the only conscious thing on earth. You know, I mean, realistically, that's what he's thinking. I'm the only consciousness. Everything else is just a thing. All right? And some things are food, and some things are fuckables, and some things are ignorables. But there's, you know, I'm not existing through anything else but my consciousness, and there's no accountability to any other notion of value. You know, it's only, I'm the only player in the game to a lion.
Yeah, this is what bothers me with humanity in general, is I'm really trying to get people to extend their sense of empathy outward, and to consider the pain of others, because sometimes I get the feeling that a lot of people they really almost see the world and the world of suffering in the same way that you're describing, that the world is generally just a world full of objects to be exploited, and that people aren't feeling the same kind of pain that they might feel.
Yeah, well, it's that prejudice thing, you know, because we do that with the winners, right? The winners of the Olympics. So we'll celebrate the winner, and nobody really spends much time contemplating the 10,000 losers that made that one victory, right? I mean, the 9,999 that didn't even make it to the Olympics, you know, who broke their leg in training or had some other, you know, fuck up, weren't tall enough, you know, weren't big enough, weren't some other stupid thing, you know, couldn't meet the standard by some other dumb reason, their bathing suits broke or something, you know, and, you know, but yeah, just when you think there's a good metaphor for this game. So you have this one moment where somebody gets to the top of the hill and plants the flag, and you celebrate that. It's like the Korean War image almost, with the guys and the flag, and you're just like, well, fuck that, okay? Because most of this war is all those dead guys, those charred ones all over the fucking place. You were throwing fire at each other, for Christ's sakes. You know, there's nothing glorious about this flag lifting. This is a sad fucking tragedy that human beings had to do this shit. Well, I'm just saying, though, but that's our instinct, is to keep doing that minimizing. And so when we win, you know, it's like, well, why didn't you win, asshole? I didn't have cancer. Why didn't you not have cancer? Right? It was really easy to do. I did it. I didn't have cancer. Why didn't you not have cancer, stupid fuck? I mean, it's almost that kind of a stupid attitude. Like, it doesn't happen to me, that means it doesn't really happen, and it only happens to ask you had to do something wrong to get where you are, right? If you're living in shit, You're living in shit because you did something wrong.
Gary, I totally agree. You know, I have a brother who started a business a few years ago, and he worked like 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it basically, after years of work, it went in the toilet. He lost everything, and now he owes Uncle Sam like fucking $600,000 or something. And the thing is something like 95%, I believe, of businesses fail in the first 5 years. But, you know, nobody's writing books or giving seminars on how great it is to own, or how bad it is to own your own business, because 95% of them fail, you know, 19 out of 20. The people who get the book contracts are the few positivists who make it and say, yeah, it's great to get out there on your own. And the suffering majority never really has a voice in a society where we only want to hear the positive.
Yeah, it's like the you know, literally, you know, hundreds of millions of people buy their lottery ticket, you know, and the one asshole celebrates. But did you really look at all those houses and all that money? You know, you could think of how that $20 they blew on tickets could have done that kid some good. You know, all the squandered opportunities that were lost forever because they wasted their fucking industry on that rubbish.
Yeah, and I mean, but, you know, the sacrifice of $1 or $2 here is nothing, but Jesus Christ, most people, and this is the, like I see some idiots down here on the scrolling thing here talking about suffering makes life great and everything. Yeah, that's if you happen to be one of the few people who have dodged the spikes and come up a winner. But most people get ground down under the spikes and they're never heard from again. And that's what people don't realize is most people do not benefit from suffering.
Yeah, and you don't get the loser's perspective. All the dead soldiers in World War II don't get to dig out of the graves and put all their parts back together and walk up to you and say, war is fucking bullshit. I had a fucking life. I was 22 years old. I had a wife. I had a future. And it's fucking burned to nothing. It's fucking thrown in the trash can. I invested in this life for nothing so I could die for some bullshit cause that should have never been a problem in the first place because you fucking cunts can't be fucking human beings. But yeah, you don't get the commentary of the dead. You get the commentary of the assholes who are in the back lines or in the, you know what I'm saying? The guy the guy who won you the war doesn't write the fucking book. Okay, he's one of the dead fucks. Oh, okay. Well, that was a really good speech. You know, it was like, man, it was like having a dream kind of thing. You know, I mean, when you're talking for the war dead, you know, you get really full of all that dead juice, and you know, I was really going. But anyway, yeah, they don't get to come back and tell you what a waste it was and how stupid it was. What a, yes, I wouldn't live this life over again. What? Yeah, I lived 21 years and then I spent a year in this fucking crazy ditch fighting this idiotic war for these fucking assholes who don't give a shit anyway, who aren't going to, this is going to be the war to end all wars. This is going to be the war to begin all fucking wars.
Yeah, exactly. This kind of stuff doesn't sell. All you want to hear, I mean, everybody wants their lives to be good. They want to be successful. And so they gravitate toward people who write about, yeah, here's where you can have a successful life. Of course, nobody really looks at, like, again, the people who go under the dirt, which are most of the people. And ultimately, all of us go under the dirt. I mean, I was watching a commercial today about some guy that's about 75 and he's got shingles and he's talking about, yeah, it can ruin my life. And I want to tell him, fuck, life ruined your life, man. You're an old man and you're going to fucking die. And if you don't fucking die of shingles, you're going to die from something else and soon.